This week's video has been requested by a regular viewer and subscriber Lee Ogden. Now, following on from my recent video on shooting the Starlink satellites, at the end of that video I composed a star trail shot and Lee wanted to know how you do that. Well, just for you, Lee, and for others who would like to see a star trails picture, let's get into this week's video. There are two methods to shooting star trails, and this video will demonstrate the quickest and the easier method to shooting them. Also, towards the end of the video, I'll give you details of some free software that you can download to help compile your star trail shot. Before you get shooting, there's a few things that you'll need: a good sturdy tripod, a wired remote for your camera or a camera with a built-in interval meter, a fully charged battery, and a large SD card. And if your camera doesn't come with a built-in interval meter, then you can still shoot star trails. It will just mean that you'll have a long night ahead, sat in the outdoors pressing that shutter button for quite a while, so wear warm clothing and plenty of hot drinks. So, onto the camera settings. For this image I'll be using my Sigma 10-20mm wide angle lens with the aperture around f4 and the focusing set to infinity. Now, if you don't know where the affinity level is on the lens that you use, the best advice is to set up the lens in daylight by focusing on a target in the distance. Once all that is set, you just have to wait until darkness falls and then go back out, compose your shot and determine the shutter speed and the ISO. When composing this shot, always ensure there's some foreground interest in the shot, even if it's a wall or a fence. Now, onto the ISO. Set your ISO to around 400 and a shutter speed of around 15 seconds. If you feel that the picture is still a little dark, you can either increase the shutter speed to 20 seconds or increase your ISO. If your picture is a little lighter than you're wanting, then my advice is to keep the shutter speed around 15 to 20 seconds but decrease the ISO. For this star trails picture I used an ISO of 160, an aperture of f4.5, a 20-second exposure and a focal length of 12mm. Now, with the camera all set up, it's time to set up the interval meter. Now, as I'm shooting a 20-second exposure, the minimum time I need to give the camera is 20 seconds between each shot. Now, all that is set, all I need to do now is place the camera on the tripod, leave it in a place in the garden, press the shutter speed and let the camera do its work. So for the purposes of this video, I've left the camera shooting for just over an hour and just come back into the studio and I've loaded the images onto the laptop. Now it's time for the free software to do its work. The software I use is called StarStax, and I'll put a link to the website in the video description below. Once you've downloaded this software, it's just a case of loading up your images, pressing the button and letting the StarStax software do its work. Once it's all processed, it's a quick touch up in Photoshop to reduce the orange from the street lights, and that's your star trail shot complete. Don't forget to send me your star trail shots via the numerous social media channels detailed in the video description below. And if you've liked this video, please give it the thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to make sure you get notified when new content is uploaded. Also, thanks to Lee for suggesting this video, and then feel free to leave any comments on this video or any suggestions for future videos. Please leave them in the comments below. Until next week, bye for now.